You look lonely. I can fix that. You look like a good job.
Ready? Go. 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 Oi, 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 oi. More energy, more energy, more power. Oi. Bloody hell, mate. Oi, 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 oi. Oi, oi, oi. Oi, mind up. Oi, yeah. More energy, more power. Oi, oi, that was mad. More passion. More passion. Let me see that footwork. Footwork. Give it to them. Give it to them. Give it to them. More passion. More energy. More passion. More energy. More energy.
Well, and this is
more energy.
You know what this is. Where the good times happen.
I don't know, whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that.
No, there is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
Okay, but
Okay.
now I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Okay. Ready? Sure.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out.
Sting is going to do. It's a video. Sting video.
What is
for credits?
I don't know what that means. To play us out. What does that mean? To end the show?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
Okay. In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a. I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live.
Right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
Huh?
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah! Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it!
We obviously didn't communicate clearly. We're here to discuss your surrender, not mine.
Tú eres tan romántico molestando con una vipa. Me preguntas si te quiero. Yo te digo que no estoy lista y no quiero comenzar. No hay nada que pensar. Yo te dejaré atrás. Mientras gano más y más. No estás en mi nivel y tú no eres obligación. No estás motivada y tú aburre mi corazón. Eres un idiota sin inteligencia y razón. Entonces déjame tranquila mientras escriba tu canción. Tú eres tan romántico molestando con una vipa. Me preguntas si te quiero. Yo te digo que no estoy lista y no quiero comenzar. No hay nada que pensar. Yo te dejaré atrás. Mientras gano más y más. No estás en mi nivel y tú no eres obligación. No estás motivado. Corazón. Eres un idiota sin inteligencia y razón. Entonces déjame tranquila mientras escriba tu canción. Estoy aquí a disfrutar. Estoy aquí pero quiero gozar. Si quieres a mí pero vamos a bailar. Cintura a cintura, papi, tra, tra, tra. Bailando, gozando y me gusta tomar. Pero no quiero pendejos que no quieren respetar. Déjame pendejo, papi, ya no más. Déjame pendejo, papi, ya no más. Estoy aquí a disfrutar. Estoy aquí pero quiero gozar. Si quieres a mí pero vamos a bailar. Cintura a cintura, papi, tra, tra, tra. Bailando, gozando y me gusta tomar. Pero no quiero pendejos que no quieren respetar. Déjame pendejo, papi, ya no más. Déjame pendejo, papi, ya no más.
What
is up, everybody? It is your boy Luis Martinez, aka Big Chief Burrito, live with you on a Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Me and the show live and direct from San Diego, Chula Vista, California, the Burrito Lounge, as we affectionately like to call it, or the Burrito Split Lounge. Like 6-7 miles away.
Yeah, because we're never in the same room together.
No, I mean, it's like we're the same person, like Superman and Clark Kent.
Clark Kent.
But yeah, live and direct. 1 week post-election.
Has it been a week? It's felt like a lifetime.
It has felt a little bit like a lifetime, like so exhausting the last week or so. Well, we'll get into that a little bit later in tabs. We got some political stuff to just touch in on, just kind of the pulse of the nation, kind of get you guys where it's at. We'll have a little rant about that once we get started. But today we're doing what we normally do. We're doing news and culture from a political Latino perspective, and we do our Latinx, Latino spotlight. And we try to promote and interview one Latino creative at least per week when we get a chance, when it's just not me and you. And today is no different. So we're going to do a interview with a filmmaker and actor that I've known for a while. I haven't had the pleasure of having him in one of my movies yet. But let's see a little bit about, let's take a look at their acting reel.
I'm excited.
And,
let's do it.
I haven't seen this acting reel, so I might do one of my Lou reacts in real time things.
Okay.
Let's see. Because that's something that I do once in a while.
Oh, we're reacting to his reel.
In real time.
I love it. Before bringing him
Can I do
on.
it? Should we bust out the old classic?
Yeah, why not?
Lou reacts in real time as a director. Okay, I'm a director.
As an actress, like I feel so bad for him.
As a director, I'm going to react to his reel in real time.
Okay.
And he didn't even agree to this, so sorry.
He did not agree to this, but he is an amazing actor, so
yeah. So we'll see.
This should be easy for him. He should be
did a good job with his reel, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Go.
First time watching it. All right, good start. Get to see your face right away. Quick cuts, like it.
Yeah, there you go. Different lighting.
Cry face.
Ooh, cry face immediately.
How do you know what I didn't know?
Who's this guy? What do I want to watch him for? I guess a little
I knew
context
what
is
you
okay.
wanted from the start.
Emotion.
How'd you know what
I already got the gist of this like 6 seconds ago.
You were scared.
I'd cast him.
Yeah, I guessed.
You got the part, kid. You got chops.
All right.
Oh, mira, corte de pelo. Wow.
Good stuff.
He wears a suit. Variety.
Shows me the multiple languages.
Bilingual.
More cry face.
But this is like dramatic.
Respect the cry face. Show me something funny next.
Okay, we got long hair. See, I'm looking at the facial hair and you know, variety. That's good.
Fucking attitude. There's no traffic with this thing.
I would split up the two cry face clips with this one. That way you're not showing me back-to-back sadness.
Come on, Mickey. You've never heard of an attitude.
First clip was good. Okay, here's the funny one.
Yeah, this one has a lot of personality.
Yeah.
Fish? No, I don't keep fish as pets. That would be cruel. To keep them locked up in a glass container like that? No,
Too much of them.
I'm the fish that needs to be played with. It's not sexual or anything.
I need to see this. What the fuck?
Big fish people.
My partner and I, we used to play like this. She would, you know.
No, it seems like a fetish. What? He's like, not in a sexual way.
Clip is too long.
Yeah, I agree.
Each of the clips is like 10 to 15 seconds too long.
You think so?
This one's like 20 seconds too long. And you need to split up the two clips at the beginning, different parts of it, because they're very similar.
That's why you're here.
They're very strong, but they're very similar.
Fish sitters.
What? No, I didn't. No.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Well, I would have cast him. Oh, wait.
Oh, that's something different.
Spoiler
Keep
alert.
that on.
Spoiler alert. I made another video that's kind of like a lecture team. All right.
He's not getting
So
paid.
anyway, now that I've criticized, I'll bring in Alan to give him my critique of his reel. So joining us live and direct here, I believe, is in California somewhere, right? Mr. Alan Vasquez. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome,
You guys are terrible. You guys.
Well, when
I
I
didn't agree to it. I'm so sorry. I did not
when I
agree
first
to it.
started doing content, one of my things was Lou reacts to reels in real time.
Yeah.
Just right off bat, and that would be my look. It's a good reel. The only thing is that fish clip is too long.
Yeah.
And the two beginning clips are your strongest, but they are very similar. So I would bookend those two, shorten them each by like 10, 15 seconds, and then give me just a little bit of the funny and a little bit of the psycho in between. And
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Good notes. Yeah.
I do. But yeah, that was painful. I was not expecting that.
Sorry.
Please
I didn't
forgive us.
mean to
Thank you for
judge
being
you in
here.
real time there. Hey man, thanks for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me here. I've been wanting to be on the show for a little while, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, let's jump right into it. You're an actor.
What?
Yeah, I am an actor. I've been acting for I don't know, something like 6 years now, but I never wanted to be an actor. That was never a goal of mine. That's something that just kind of happened by accident. I actually went to school for film production, so I wanted to be a director, I wanted to be a writer. Ever since I was a little kid, ever since I saw Star Wars when I was 7 years old, I was like, who did that? I want to do that. I did my first short film in 2017, and then I realized, oh, I feel like I need to learn how to direct actors better. So I took an acting class to learn how to do that, to learn how to like speak their language and kind of like get a little bit more of an inside scoop. And I just didn't expect to fall in love with it how I did. And I started going out for parts, and then I started getting an agent, and then I don't know, it was all just effortless, and I just started to enjoy that creativity so much. Also, when like in my mind, acting equals storytelling, that to me was like, oh, like I can write whatever I want, but I'm just using my body, my voice, my thoughts, my emotions to tell the story as opposed to writing it. Which is, so anyways, it's been a later in life kind of discovery for me.
That's amazing. Do you still write and intend to like direct and all of that? That part I'm sure is not gone, right?
No, I've directed a couple shorts since then, and it really does feed off each other. You know, I whenever I'm acting, I feel like I get a front row to directors because they're always there directing you. So I get little like, oh, that's a good note, I'm going to use that, or the opposite. Oh, I'm never going to tell an actor that. You know, so you kind of like, it's really helpful. And then from an acting perspective, then you bring that over to directing, and then vice versa. So it's very helpful to do both, actually.
Yeah. Which one, if you had to choose, which one would you say?
Probably writing and directing, just because that's always been my first passion,
Really?
my first love. Yeah. I love all of it. You know, I kind of see it all as part of one. It's storytelling, but writing and directing is always like the first passion, and I have so many stories that I want to be able to write and direct in the future. So those stories that I've had in my mind for so long, I just want to do them one day.
Aww.
Yeah.
Have you been so you've been walking around with ideas since Star Wars?
Yes, I used to write I grew up watching Disney films. I would even do the posters of the cartoons I would make, like my feature length cartoon films, animated films. So I would draw a poster. I had like 13 at one point.
Oh my God.
Yeah, ever since then I've had ideas.
What was like the most impactful? Sorry, continue.
Oh no, go ahead. Ask your question.
I was gonna ask, what was the most impactful Disney movie?
Oh man, there's so many. So Beauty and the Beast was actually the first movie I ever saw in theaters.
Classic.
And one of my earliest memories, I saw it at the Vogue Theater in Chula Vista. That's no longer there. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that theater. It's really
It's
old.
a bar now, Tavern at the Vogue, yeah?
Yeah. I think that's the same one. I have not been to the bar, but that's where I saw Beauty and the Beast. I think that one probably because it was just my earliest memory, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's not a very popular Disney film, but I feel like when I saw that movie, I think at the right age where it's sort of darker themes kind of clicked with me for some reason about, you know, oppression, genocide, religion, all those crazy things that are actually in this, kids movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's actually like really heavy stuff.
It's heavy, yeah.
But I think I was like 10 years old or 9 years old, and I clicked with the film, and I feel like you have to be a certain age for that movie to be impactful because it's, kids kind of tune it out because they don't get a lot of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Those are classics. Those are
Yeah.
classics.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I've always said that there's only a certain amount of people in the world that walk around thinking about making and being in movies. So if you are one of the people in the world that has that thought running through their head out of the billions of people out there, then you should go ahead and pursue that. I remember thinking about scenes and just seeing scenes of movies in my head when I was growing up. So I always knew I love the idea of film and just creating moments like that. For you, is it more the aesthetics of a movie, of a scene, like the cartoon, the animation that you think about, or is it more the feeling that you want to evoke, or is it the story and the issues that you want to deal with in the writing?
It's probably a little bit of everything. I think it's very visual. It comes to me in a lot of scenes, but I also I think story at the end of the day is kind of what drives it. Story and character. I like thinking of characters and thinking of stories, and then just getting deep into that. But I do always find there's something I want to say with each thing that I write. And sometimes when I'm helping out a friend who's stuck with their writing or anything similar to that, I always ask them, well, what are you trying to say? Like, ultimately, what is your, you have a voice and you're given a platform, whether it's film or theater or whatever. What do you want to say? Like, what is it you're trying to express and communicate? And whenever you remember that, somehow you just bring back the story to the essentials. So that always helps me whenever I'm like stuck in a story. It's like, okay, well, ultimately, what is the story about? And then refine everything. So story and character, I think ultimately, whenever you watch a movie, if, the cinematography may not be the best or the sound may not be the best, but if the story is good, I feel people are engaged. All the technical stuff is kind of secondary. It's there to serve the story and the characters. So I think that's what drives me anyways as a storyteller. Yeah.
I agree with you with everything except sound. If it's got bad sound.
That's true, yeah.
bad
good sound.
Movie.
Yeah. But
wait,
Star
what
Wars,
part do you disagree with?
the sound.
The sound? Oh yeah. Okay.
That's true. If the sound is bad, it does pull you out of the film.
I think, like I always say, let's say, like if you had the money, if you only had the money for either a good camera kit, a good sound person, you know what I mean? Spend the money on the good sound person and shoot with an iPhone, because you can get get much better quality of a film that way than just having a fucking Red Dragon with fucking the hum in the background or fucking Black Magic, and then you have or you fucking have to shoot your close-ups with fucking camera audio. That's
yeah. A lot of movies have been shot on an iPhone, really good movies.
Yeah.
And also acting, I think too. If you have like, good performances, the audience can always engage with that as well. You don't need a ton of money to make a good film.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into the project that you are in right now. And that is called Emerald City. And it is playing this week at San Diego Film Week. When is it playing?
It plays in the Love, Live, Laughs block at the Digital Gym downtown at 6 p.m. on Friday.
On Friday.
Yes. I was a little confused at first because it was labeled as the comedy block, and our film is not a comedy, so I don't know if that's changed.
Is it? I was wondering. I'm like, is it because of the love?
I think so. I don't know. I just hope we're not the only non-funny film there, because that's going to be really awkward.
Yeah.
But
got a little liberal with the blocks there.
Yeah, but it's kind of a feel-good movie, I think.
Okay.
It is. It's very positive, and it's vibey. It's nice. It's cozy.
It is
I
cozy.
quite like. Yeah, it's cozy. I quite like the characters.
I like that
Um,
description of it. Cozy, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's
It is.
probably the fire pit.
It probably, yeah. The fact that y'all are camping a lot
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
intense.
That's always cozy.
Yeah.
What? How did you get involved with the project?
I got involved, so my agent sent me the script and the sides, and I was actually traveling at the time, and I had told my agent I was going to be off for the month, but they sent me the script, and they're like, well, this came our way. You don't have to do it. We know you're on holiday. But I read it. I got to read the whole script, and I fell in love with the script, so I immediately paused everything. I was traveling with a friend. I was in Madrid, and we were about to go do this like huge day of shopping. Well, she was. I was just going to tag along. And I was like, no. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to like study. And I bunkered down and I did a self-tape within 2 days and sent it. And then I did a callback. And then after that, I did a chemistry read. So it was kind of a bit of a little process, but I was just very excited to do it. I really wanted to do it. So I was very happy when I got it.
You chose self-tape over Madrid shopping spree. That's kind of.
I did. I wasn't gonna buy that much anyways because I was on a budget, so it's all good.
What was the backdrop for the self tape?
Oh, we were staying at an Airbnb, so it was like it was a very tiny Airbnb. I think I'd try to like minimize like the background, but I think it might have been like a painting of some sorts. Yeah, that was a self tape. I forgot about that. Yeah.
What is the what was the thing that that drew you in the most? Because I mean, I guess it feels like a road trip, but it also like a road movie, but also feels like a self-discovery, like a couple of people that are kind of lost in their own worlds. Yeah. What was the thing that made you, that resonated or that connected with you the most?
Well, all those things connected to me, and all of that was very evident in the script. So everything you said was exactly what I loved about the script. And the one thing that I can highlight is at the very end when, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it ends in a way where I felt like I didn't think it was going to go that way. Mm-hmm. And growing up, I'm also part of the queer community, and growing up, I didn't see a lot of queer films that necessarily were very positive. They were all sort of tragedies or something always happened. And so to read something that felt kind of joyous and celebratory in a way, I felt like that's what kind of drew me to. I was like, oh, this is a happy, this is a feel-good film, and I wasn't expecting that. I guess I'm just traumatized from all the other films that I've seen, so I just expected it a certain way. But that's kind of what was the ultimate, I guess, draw for me. I'm like, okay, I really want to be a part of it. But all of those things, the character that I play, he's, very reserved, very, there's a lot of stuff that's happened to him. And I could connect to some of that. When I was younger, I felt like I was a little bit like that character, very much less so now, but it was almost like I was, to be honest, I was watching a previous version of myself. And that was very interesting because I was reading, I'm like, I know this guy. I know this version of me. So I felt like I could bring that sort of authenticity to the character.
Yeah, that's true. And I love the way that your character is kind of coming out of his shell throughout the process. And a lot of it is your co-star. I felt like the chemistry was really good. So like, how did the chemistry reads go? Did you read with multiple people, or like how did you two get cast together? Because the chemistry was off the charts, in my opinion.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Havan Baraka, he's a really great actor. I had met him, so it was through Zoom, and I read with 4 guys. He was one of 4, and it was a very long day, but it was all through Zoom, so it wasn't even like we weren't in person, which was, kind of interesting because I wanted to be in person, but it just didn't work out that way. The director's based in Chicago, and so that was going to be kind of tricky. But Havan, I had met a month prior, just totally by coincidence, because I wrote this pilot for this TV show, and they were doing pickups for the TV show. So they invited me to go on set, and he was there. He was one of the actors playing one of the characters that I wrote. So I met him very briefly, but it was a good connection. And then a month later, I'm there, you know, waiting for the Zoom, and the director's like, "All right, we're gonna bring the actors in. We're gonna bring the first one in. His name is Havan." And like the little bell went off. I was like, Havan. I'm like, it couldn't be. And then he pops up and he's like right there. So it was awkward for a second because, like, you know, we had just met and now we had to flirt with each other. So it's always better to do that with someone you don't really know.
Yeah.
But he knocked it out of the park. I mean, he was great. He brings so much spontaneity. He has like a lot of energy and very quick-witted. And I immediately knew that he was the best one for sure.
Yeah, for sure. There was a scene where your character is very kind of like not slow-mo, but you're like looking at him and the gestures that he was doing, I was falling in love with him. I was like, this is great casting. I loved it.
Thank you. Yeah, he's easily to fall in love with. He's great. Yeah.
In your career as an actor, obviously, you know, do you feel that I mean, is it just a thing like where your agent is like, gay part, send it to Alan? Do you ever feel like it's do you ever feel like typecast in any sense? Or I mean, because I mean the same way as like if I shaved my head and went to Hollywood, I'd get nothing but like gangster or drug dealer roles or stuff like that. And even now, people are like, they want me to be in their movie. They're like, oh, you want me to be? Yeah, I need somebody to play a tough guy, or I need somebody to play a drug lord or something like that. And I'm like, all right, fuck it, you know. But do you feel that there's a specific type of casting for queer actors right now, or do you think it's been expanded in the last few years? How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel like I started playing like only straight roles, so it kind of turned. It was the opposite. So when I first started, for whatever reason, I was a little typecast in the sense that I was getting very intense, heavy roles. I was getting like drug addicts, abusive partners. I was getting people who were losing their mind, who were going unhinged, or people who were creepy guy who would go in and take pictures of people while they were asleep. I was getting like really dark kind of characters when I first started, and they were all straight. They were all like straight characters. So I remember wanting to play a queer character because I wasn't getting those parts. So for me personally, I don't think that has happened.
You were more typecasted as like a Latino than as a queer part.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But I don't know. Like it's I haven't played, I feel like, enough queer parts. I would like to play more of that, I guess.
In general, I think there's not enough queer parts that just existing. Unfortunately.
I wish there was more. Yeah, I wish there was more. I would love to play more kind of different kinds of queer characters and not sort of stereotypical one thing or another. The reason why I really also gravitated towards this film is because it never kind of felt like it was, you know, sort of making itself a gay film. You know what I mean? It felt like it's just these two characters, these two people who find a connection and they fall in love, and that's it. Like we never even mentioned the word queer or gay or anything. It's just purely about connection and deepening that connection and the walls we have, you know, with each other and ourselves, and how we have to kind of overcome that in order to find real connection, which is what these characters do. So, you know, I think that's kind of the way I wish a lot of these other queer films would go to, where it doesn't become so just about that, and so the universal themes can be, you know, could reach a wider audience, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know if it has to do with like our generation or what, but I do feel like I'm queer as well. So like the whole coming out process was just, I think.
What?
I feel like there was a what? I feel like there was a lack of queer media as a whole, and so then when people did, and then like you said, you mentioned like how, you know, a lot of gay characters, it ended tragically, and so we got used to either you die or something tragic needs to occur for it to be a queer film. And so I would hope that now with like, you know, with shows like kind of like Modern Family slowly making it a little more normalized to just it be a part of who you are, but not the main central point of the story. I think that's a lot more normalized now. I just feel like there should be more people writing more scripts where they're just queer characters and they're just being, you know, themselves.
Well, you don't want to play a gym teacher or a hairdresser your whole life?
I know, right? What?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you're right. I do think it's shifting now. I think that's the great thing. I think there's been a lot of people that have come before us who've kind of paved the way. You know, like the first gay kiss or the first this and that, and like now it's starting to be more normal, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Ellen DeGeneres coming out and like on TV.
And I was like,
Yeah,
whoa.
it was like a fucking. It was a made for TV event. Now all of a sudden you're coming out talking about Brokeback Road Trip, and we're having a good discussion.
I know. Someone called this movie the hopeful Brokeback, which I really like. I was like, yeah. Modern Brokeback. Yeah.
It had the ending I needed to. Yeah, for my traumas. Jesus.
Just can't quit you.
Yeah.
Another genre of films that I've sort of been interested in is, I guess, queer coded movies that aren't necessarily about, for example, I don't know if either one of you guys saw Bones and All with
no.
I heard of it.
Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, I haven't.
Is that the one with him and an older man?
Who won the if Lou had to do a guy bracket that we did a while ago? But it was basically a movie about cannibals in the 80s. It was about cannibalism it was about two cannibals. Actually, it's a really good movie.
Oh my god! I saw pictures. That's crazy.
I would really think you guys should see it.
That sounds really interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen
it.
But
the director afterwards was basically saying that it was cannibalism as a metaphor, as a simile, or whatever, for gay acceptance during that time, which was not it wasn't what it was in the 80s, that it was in the 90s, that it was after that.
Yeah.
And as somebody that came of age in the 90s in New York, I was obviously surrounded by a lot of it, during that time. So I always kind of looked for the coded inside of films where it's not about that, but it's also like, and then they put that on a lot of different movies, like even animated films. Like they said, Luca, which is an animated movie, was a little queer coded. They were calling it Calamari by your name.
Okay.
Yeah, they were. So how do you feel about sort of dealing with those issues by not dealing with them?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on the story, and it depends on the vibe that they're going for. Sometimes it can be powerfully made, like the one that you just mentioned sounds really interesting. Like using that as a metaphor, that could be very powerful. But I guess it depends. I think it can be powerful talking about it, but I think some do need to be talked about. I think there's certain issues, there's certain stories that they're, no matter how much you try to cut around it, like you have to kind of talk about it. For example, I don't know if you guys seen the movie Mother by Darren Aronofsky, which is like a metaphor for, it could be different things, but I love that movie because you can project your own sort of interpretation onto it, and it's very powerful that way. Whether it's like a biblical perspective or lens, or Mother Earth, using that sort of lens. So it's potentially really good and powerful to talk about. And there's other movies, other stories that I think that are, if they're real life stories, I think you have to honor that and talk about the gay stuff, because honestly, like I've been to a few film festivals kind of showing this film, and it's one of the few times that I've actually have gotten to interact with audience members, mostly older gay men, who come and talk to me about it. And it really, I guess, hits a nerve with them, especially because they are from a generation that didn't see that at all really growing up. So it's like seeing themselves or a chapter in their lives, or something that they really went through. So I think it's important to tell these stories. I think there's a lot of time where these stories weren't told, and a lot of these other film festivals, I've discovered stories from different queer perspectives. I went to the Utah Queer Film Festival, which is Mormon town, and to be able to see some of the documentaries and films made about specifically that lens of the queer community in that space, it's a completely different, it's really, really intense. And I think those stories need to be told because the world needs to hear about it, So I think it depends on the subject. Yeah.
You know what's really funny is I used to be Mormon, and I'm actually like finishing up a script that has to do with queer themes in the Mormon Church. It's so good. I'm excited about it.
That's crazy. I'm an ex-Mormon myself. Not
Shut up, ex-moms. Wait,
yeah.
how?
Yes. No, but it's kind of. You're from Latter-day Saints?
Yeah. I was all up in the LDS Spanish speaking ward.
Wow.
Did you guys get to keep the bikes?
Huh?
With the bikes?
You guys get to keep the bicycles, or no? You had to give those back.
Have to get this back.
Mine was different though. Mine was a offshoot, like a independent. So not of Latter-day Saints, but I did grow up reading the Book of Mormon. It's like a smaller independent church, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, where did you grow up, or was this church?
There's one branch here in San Diego, and there's a couple in Tijuana. It's worldwide. I think mostly in the East Coast. But just to give you an idea of how small it is, there's only one branch in all of San Diego County. There's a couple in LA, but yeah, it's just kind of like an offshoot. Like, in fact, they don't like LDS.
Really?
Yeah. You guys are the enemy.
What? But you guys read the Book of Mormon? That's so weird.
Yeah. It's just different. It's a little bit different.
What is it called? Like, do y'all have a title?
Yeah, the Church of Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
Not of Latter-day Saints.
Not of the Latter-day Saints. No.
The Church of Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
All right, guys, we are. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alan.
Oh yeah, I can relate. I grew up. So even though I didn't go to that LDS church, being there in Salt Lake City and watching some of the documentaries and watching some of the films was, I mean, that one's more intense than the one I went to, and just way more powerful. Just like the influence it has on
it's
lives and the city itself. I mean, it was very bizarre being in the city. I mean, it's a lovely city, but it's everywhere. You know, it almost feels like a cult city.
It's very, very, very cult. Like, I was gonna ask, did you guys wear magic underwear as well?
No, we did not.
Okay, great.
We got saved.
My next question.
Yeah, we did.
All right, guys, we are live here on a Tuesday with Alan Vasquez from the movie Emerald City. It is playing this week in the Love, Laughs, and Life short screening block. They are part of the Love and Life part. And it's happening this week. Other films, there's a film by George Jack that's playing, James E. Jew, and it's hosted at the Digital Gym, which I work with for the San Diego Latino Film Festival. So I will put the link in the description and in the comment section here for you guys in case everybody wants to come check it out. Also reminding you that you guys can listen to Mi Gente Show anywhere you get your podcast. Specifically, we are on Podbean, where you can see all our past episodes and our newest episode, which is Copium 2024. Sophia and I reacting to the election news as it happened live.
On election night.
On election night. Copium 2024. Available now wherever you get your podcast. I want to thank everybody that's joining us over on Instagram. I see Jackie Bancho in the house. Hopeful Brokeback.
Oh, Jackie. I know her.
Yale R. Bear, Maria 3.0, Tony RDG, SD Riders, Corey plays guitar. Joined us earlier. Thank you guys. If you guys do want to have your comments on screen like this, you need to come over to YouTube or Facebook so we can do it. But thank you guys for watching.
Or Twitch.
Instagram or Twitch, twitch.tv/2am burrito as well. We're all over the place. We're live. We are talking all things filmmaking, etc. Being a filmmaker locally, I know you worked on a lot of other projects, including like these projects where people go away to Europe and film stuff like that. How do you feel about sort of the pay-to-play type projects and things like that? Do you feel it's like a worthwhile industry, an interesting sort of concept, etc.? From it, I can ask you that.
Specifically with your international films that we did.
This goes up.
Yeah, those were they were an amazing experience. I mean, it was the first time I went to Europe. So we did Terry Ross, the director. It was 3 short films that we shot over a few years. The first one we shot in Italy. The second one we shot in France. The third one we shot in Portugal. And it's a trilogy, and altogether it's kind of like one big feature. These actors, they paid to make the film. Basically, they paid for the experience of going to another country and working on characters and actually having footage for their reels, and not just a reel, but like actually have a film out. And I was the assistant director for those projects. As I mentioned, Terry Ross was the director, and Jackie Bento, who was on there, she was on part of the crew for 2 as well. And it was an interesting dynamic in the sense that the actors were also the producers. They all paid the budget. You know what I mean? So it was this interesting dynamic of it's like half vacation, half you're shooting a film. It's kind of it's a unique space. You don't really find that, I think, in a lot of.
Well, I think it's an interesting space because I'm not trying to obviously, take a crap on it, because I feel like there is a space for it, and you would be turning a blind eye if you didn't realize that a lot of people, when they're making a film, somebody will be like, "Hey, I hear you're making a movie. I can help you out with a little money, but I got like my side piece or my wife or my girlfriend or my boyfriend or somebody that I'd like that you could give a part to." It's not like there's been movies that have been made because of these things where it's kind of like a pay to play thing. So I'm not taking a crap on it. I'm just trying to say, like, how does that change the artistic process when somebody's basically guaranteed a part, and you have to sort of be probably a little bit more patient with them if they're new to the acting world and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of, not everyone was seasoned actors, and there were a couple who did bring their spouse or partner, and somehow they ended up in the film. And actually, we had one incident where the person who was going to do it, she ended up having some sort of accident, and she had to be in a wheelchair. So her husband ended up doing her part. They just changed it a little bit to being a guy. So yes, that was. Oh, no. That was interesting from my perspective as the assistant director and the ones who is with the actors. It was a challenge in the sense that everyone had a completely different experience under their belt, and I had to adjust to every single one. And I had to, it does require a lot of patience, but also I think just like tenacity, because you're also working really fast and you have to figure this stuff out really quick. But everyone, because they were
castles aren't cheap.
What's that?
Castles aren't cheap to film in.
No, we were shooting in these like old castles. I think one of the castle in Italy was owned by Napoleon at one point as like a. Anyways, there were amazing locations, like so beautiful. And I think because we were in such a beautiful setting, these actors were always in a great mood. They were, just going along with it, and props to them, because a lot of them, it was sometimes, I think a few of them, their first time really being on the set of that scale. A lot of them were Terry students from here in San Diego, but it was an adventure. That's all I can. That's the best way to describe it. I came out of it like it was my first time in Europe, so creatively it did so much for me personally, just because it was my first time there and got to travel quite a bit. But yeah, it was interesting, and they were all much older actors too, so it was it was a great experience. Yeah.
Who writes the script for something like that? Is because I'm assuming if everyone's producing, there's got to be like a lot of almost too many cooks in a kitchen, situation where was there a lot of butting heads, or was who ultimately has the last say of like, this is what the script is, that's your character, that's what you're saying, that's your line?
Well, that would be Terry, who is the director. All of that stuff, I mostly wasn't in the room for. She would rehearse with them, and they would go over. By the time I got involved, or by the time that I came into play with the schedule, with like, organizing everything, they had already figured out who was playing what, whose lines are what, and she always would try to, which was impressive, to give everyone the same amount of lines because everyone's paying the same amount. So that is tricky, and luckily I wasn't in those rooms when that.
Listen, I feel sorry for the editor who has to create a performance out of that, because I know sometimes working with like amateur actors, you have to like piece together takes and things like that. Which was that Jackie or somebody? I'm sure that was editing that.
Jackie did edit, I think.
She's a beast, so no problem. I have no doubt.
Certainly the last two. I don't know about the first one if she did, but yeah, she was. She was, by the way, monumental on that film. I would not have survived those shoots without her. Those were some like, long days and lots of crazy stuff. So
it was like 3% vacation, 97% work, right? More like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I got to have my vacation afterwards. But I learned a lot. Like honestly, I learned so much from those shoots, and we recently saw all three of them with everybody a few months ago. So
really nice.
Yeah, that was amazing to see, and it was right before Terry moved as well. So it was a very emotional kind of event to see all our work, after 4 years, and have everyone there. And yeah, it was a beautiful experience.
Jackie says hi. That's me for Portugal. Yeah, she's over there. Thank you for joining us, Jackie. You're a beast. We love you.
Love you, Jackie.
Jackie's watching us live over on Instagram. So you're a filmmaker, you're a writer, you've been thinking about things that you've been thinking about movie scenes in your whole life since you've seen movies as a kid, and now you're actually like actively in the industry. You have an agent, you're getting sent roles and stuff like that. How different is being a working actor compared to what you thought? And do people have a misconception about what a working actor is when they meet you and they think they found out you're an actor? How do you think people react to you?
Well, I mean, I think a lot more sporadic and spotty than I think I would have imagined. It's not like you are constantly getting roles or getting opportunities. I think it's such a like waves. So I think it's a lot of being comfortable with the unknown is something that I realized quite early on when I started going for parts, because I think you don't get I don't get most of the parts I audition for. So there's a lot of no's. There's a lot of uncertainty that goes with it, even financially sometimes, because even though and the reason why I also do other things is for money as well, like being an assistant director. I've worked as a scripty, as a grip. I do so many other things so that I don't have a normal job, and I can stay working on set. But it's very sporadic, and you have to be comfortable not knowing when the next one's going to come in and being okay with that. So that's a little tough sometimes. And even then, I've still had to get a part-time job here or there, because, 1 minute you get a huge commercial that pays you really well, and then you're not booking for 2 months. There's no rhyme or reason. Like, it's just kind of just how it is right now for me anyways. So people assume, I guess, like sometimes like, oh, you've been doing a lot of stuff and it comes your way. But no, there's a lot of effort, a lot of unseen effort that no one's ever going to see. Like you're just there at night memorizing your lines, doing all your work and still not getting the part. So there's so much work that goes into it that it's not always so nice. But I think I love doing it. That's the other thing I didn't expect from acting, is that I just love doing it no matter what the role is. And I think I got lucky that I never wanted to be an actor, because a lot of actors who have dreamed of being an actor since they were little have these like huge expectations, or they have this pressure of like, oh, I need to hit this threshold, I need to hit this other threshold, and they have this sort of map of what success means to them. And I'm just happy playing. Like I love showing up and then getting to do what I love doing. And so I think I'm lucky in that way, because I don't really have all the, lifelong expectations of, oh, I should be having this type of role or this type of agent at this point. I'm just enjoying it. I just recently got accepted to SAG. Like I got like my SAG eligible. So that was thank you. That was amazing to me. That to me felt like a big deal. But yeah, I think it's just I didn't expect to enjoy it so much. I that's the other thing too. I love doing it.
Let me ask you this, because we are talking about your journey in cinema and in film. One of the things that we talk about often on the show in terms of filmmaking process is obviously independent films, and you talked a little bit about indie cinema, and a lot of that I feel is problem solving, right? It's on the set that day, problem solving. This person can't remember the lines, this person didn't show up, etc. Changes on the spot. But when you get into more serious films, and now in kind of like 2024, there's a discourse in the acting world about who should be allowed to play certain parts. For example, there's the famous thing about the movie where Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart, and they're playing a quadriplegic, and they're saying, well, you guys should have found a disabled person to play that part. And the downside of that is that unless you get Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart in that movie, you probably don't get the financing to make it. So do you think we've come to the point where only queer actors should play queer parts? Do you feel that it should just be, as long as the director and the casting and the producers are making an effort to find the right person and the actor is being true to the part, that a straight actor or a cis actor can play a gay part? What are your thoughts if you are going up against a part with a gay part with a straight actor? Do you feel that you should have a leg up, or how would you feel if you lost a queer part in a queer movie to a straight actor?
Oh, that's a great question. It depends on the story. So, for example, if I was going to be asked to do a film that's like an ensemble, and I'm not from India, but if they wanted I get confused for Indian all the time. So let's say I kill the audition, they give me the part, I'm Indian, and I'm just one small part of a big ensemble. I would feel kind of okay, that's not too crazy. But if the movie specifically about being an Indian, about the life of someone from India, then I think I'd be like, okay, I there's got to be other actors who are really good who can obviously do that part. You know what I mean? I think it has to do with the content. Like if the character just happens to be gay and gay doesn't really have anything to do with the story, then that's fine. I don't see the problem with a straight actor playing that part. But if it's specifically about, let's say, someone being traumatized by the Mormon church and they went through all of that stuff and they're super gay, like, you know what I mean? I think you can find an actor who actually can identify, has lived some form of that. So I think it depends on the content ultimately. But I would be pissed if like a straight actor got my part.
Well,
That's a great answer, actually.
Yeah. From a directorial perspective, like I like to feel that if I'm casting an independent film, that as a director who's an indie director, that I think that I trust myself, that if I'm writing a character who is gay, and a big part of their character is the fact that they are gay and their experiences, that I just don't like to feel like that would supersede my artistic vision as a director and a filmmaker, right? Like I would like to feel that as long as I say, okay, I'm casting for a character, being queer is a big part of their personality. It is an important part of who of what the character is. But if I'm blown away by the audition or the look of a straight actor, and in my mind I really envision them in my film, and then another queer actor comes in and maybe they're not as good, in my mind as a filmmaker, as a creative, I like to think that I don't want to be influenced by that. But I think that's also has to do with personal biases and personal experiences and what you feel filmmaking should be. So I think that if you open yourself up to being open to and at least reach out to that community and say, hey, I'm looking for actors with this shared experience. Please come audition to my film. But at the end of the day, I still pick another actor. I guess the word would be I feel clean about it, right? Where but I also know I'm also self-conscious and know that maybe there's something inside of me that just is being stubborn and saying, well, I just want this guy because he looks like the character in my mind, right? I guess that's kind of like.
Well, I think if your intention is to find someone that has that experience that can bring that into the performance, then I think that that's a great place to start.
Right.
And ultimately, I think only you know the story that you want to tell. And if you get a straight actor, then that fits exactly what you're envisioning, feels exactly what you are trying to communicate with that character, then I think that's fair. And also everyone's a little gay, so maybe you can just bring that little gayness out of that guy.
Yeah, true.
Sorry, that is to say, like, oh, all right. And then the second part of that would be like, obviously, Sophia's writing the story about being queer in the Mormon, so she might cast you and stuff like that. But then she'd be like, oh, like Lou, do you want to direct this? I'd be like, really, me? Like, what the fuck do I know about that, right? But from an aesthetic standpoint, you'd be like, well, shit, Martin Scorsese is not gay, but I'd let him direct the fucking movie, right? So there's all those different levels that happen in filmmaking now. What's up, Karina?
Yeah, there's a lot of gray area, and you just kind of said, asked a really great question. And I think the issue now is that everything's what it feels like it's so black and white. You know what I mean? There's no nuances and any sort of debate. It's either this or it's that.
Right.
And I have heard that a lot of like, straight actors taking queer roles or whatever. Like there's the movie Queer that's coming out. Daniel Craig. I don't know the other actor's name, but they're both straight, and there's a little controversy there. I haven't seen it, but I feel like the conversation needs to be a little bit nuanced, because being gay, you're already kind of, I don't know, like putting it in a box. What is the story? What is the character? Because being gay is only a part of a little bit of your life. It's a character's journey is also much more than that. There's other things that influence what a person is. So, like I mentioned, I guess it depends on the story of what the focus of the story is. But yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for joining us. Eliana has talent. Joined us over on Instagram. Jackie said, well said over on IG. Karina tapping in. Acting is 90% just auditioning or making your own work. Also, yeah.
Aww.
She's great.
We're live over on Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, everywhere. If we do go offline on Instagram, guys, because sometimes Instagram will cut us off at an hour, come on over to YouTube. We'll be live for a while here. I'm also putting in the forms for our No Names Way, anonymous advice from unqualified podcasters. We do already have a couple of submissions in 2 days.
Oh, sweet. We haven't done that in a while.
We have a couple
give
of
some bad
submissions.
advice.
So I'm putting over on Instagram. I am putting over the YouTube link in case you guys want to join us. In case the stream goes down over on IG, because Instagram only lets us live stream for an hour. This segment I like to do sometimes on the show. We have Alan here, so we'll involve him in it. But this is a segment of the show that's called "Should I Buy This?" So.
The answer is almost always no.
This. I wear a lot of hats. This is kind of a hat I saw today. It's got kind of like a dragon with a wave, which are two things that I really like.
I've never seen that before. I think you should.
Whoa there! Get
All right.
a little angel and a little devil on your shoulder.
All right, it's got 758 is close enough. All right, we're gonna put it. We're gonna put it in the shopping cart and then kind of go from there later on. Thank you, Alan. See, I didn't even need Sophia's input. The goal for me this year.
You don't need any more hats.
The goal for me this year is to buy.
Karina, no, everybody's turning.
Less than 3 hats. So I haven't bought any hats so far this year. So I would still have 2 more that I can buy because I have too many hats.
Oh wait, what
Yeah.
was the bingo card? Bingo card said you weren't gonna buy
Yeah,
more than
who
how many?
buys more than 3 hats or less?
That's not fair. I bought you one.
I say that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
That
That was a
doesn't
birthday
count.
hat. That
Yeah,
doesn't count.
but it's a new hat that you acquired.
She likes it. Very anime.
Mm.
Thank you, Karina. Yes, yes.
does
And
look
I got
very
the dragons. I got 2 dragons tatted on me, so it kind of fits.
It is very cool. It's a
The aesthetic.
tsunami. Wear
I do
blue.
have like over 40 fitted hats, so I do have a problem.
It's bad.
It's bad. It's
I
bad.
like the one you're wearing now. That's pretty cool.
Thank
I
you.
like
Yeah, because I love polar bears.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See,
And
he
I got
does
a-
this with
well with
everything,
this
Alan.
tsunami
He
bag.
does this with everything. No.
I got a polar bear tattoo too. See, I got the polar bear back there.
Oh
You
yeah.
have a
yeah.
wave? Is that a wave? Is that a wave on the tattoo?
No, it's just that. Oh, no, this is I don't know. This is a Taurus symbol I had a long time.
Ah.
I got too many tattoos, guys, and now I own a tattoo shop, so I'm constantly getting tattooed. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Just to remind you guys, the show is sponsored by La Original Casa del Taco in National City, where you can go get tacos, and SoCal Tattoo on Main Street in San Diego, where you can get tattoos, which are 2 of my
Pretty
favorite things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop by.
Stop by.
Stop by. Stop by.
Say hi. Tell them Team Burrito sent you. So San Diego filmmakers, SD Film Week, more ink. Yes, Jackie. More ink is happening. San Diego Film Week. How does I mean, you've been in different film festivals here locally. I am often at odds maybe with the San Diego film community just because I feel there's a lot of I don't know, like they trade like community for professionalism. Like I think it sometimes gets it's a little, you know, like, because I think there's lifers and then there's also hobbyists, and I think that San Diego there's just a shitload of hobbyists as opposed to people that are really about it. So how do you feel the state of San Diego films is as you go into a celebration of San Diego movies?
Well, San Diego Film Week especially has a special place in my heart because that's how I got into the film industry, actually. So I went to film school in Vancouver when I was 19 or 20, and I didn't do anything for 8 years with film. I worked in retail. I worked at a factory for 2 years. I was a bartender. I was a server. Like I did everything but. And then I got this invitation to be a PA for the Film Awards 2017, and it was a answer to a prayer, I felt, and so I decided to go. I met Jody, and I met a couple people that I still very much talk to and collaborate with, and that Film Awards 2017. I don't know if you went to that one, but there was like a bunch of stormtroopers for that one. Like it was like this cosplay thing. It was incredible. It was my first time like networking with producers, actors, and I remember being so nervous. And then I felt like that opened the doors for everything that came afterwards. So I started collaborating with a lot of local filmmakers. I met John Freeman, who's a local filmmaker. I started working with him a lot. Ian Tripp, who also does a lot of really cool work in San Diego. I think there's a lot of talent in San Diego. I think I've collaborated with very, very talented people. And so it's been fun, honestly. I think there's this sort of low pressure. And I've also, now that I've worked in LA, I appreciate the sort of low pressure. Let's just have fun and make films, make something cool, make something weird, make something interesting. So in the state of now, I can't say I've seen enough films to kind of gauge like where it is in terms of where it is now. But I just know there's a lot of talented people here that, you know, have helped me along my journey. And so, yeah, I don't know. I feel I see what you mean. I know what you mean by like there's maybe some hobbyists, perhaps, but yeah, I don't know who they are.
Lou just has a complicated relationship with.
Listen. I was there at the first Film Awards. I made 2 features in San Diego. I like to feel that I know pretty much all the filmmakers here. Maybe not the ones that come out in the last like 3 years, but there's been a lot of shit going on in the world during that time. So I'm always supportive of the San Diego film industry. I just have a more realistic relationship with it, and I just don't feel that just the same thing that makes it great the feeling of familiarity, the let's just have a good time, the less all that stuff is awesome as a community. But I just feel it should be more. It shouldn't be like a film industry. It's just more like a film club is really what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I totally get that. I can totally see that as well. Yeah.
Which is fine. It's not a big deal. It's nothing that keeps me up at night. I just, like I said, I'm very happy to help promote it. I also said when I invited you on, I said, hey, if there's any other films made by for about Latinos, have them reach out. We'd love to, feature them this episode so that we can do more panel. But I'm also happy to just kind of have you on the show and focus on your career as an actor. Can't believe we haven't gotten to work on something together.
Write something.
There's still plenty of time.
There's still plenty of time. We got time.
I'm only getting started, so you're gonna get a better version.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, I've taken a break after COVID, a lot of personal stuff, but I have been having the itch recently, so it'll happen. I don't know who'll make a movie first, me or Sophia. That's a good question.
Probably you. You're better about getting producers. You're better about making financial things happen.
Yes. We will see. We will see what's happening. All right.
Quick question for Sophia. Is this a feature that you're working on? The Mormon.
The script. It turned into a feature. Yeah, I couldn't keep it short, so first draft is officially a feature. Yeah.
Scarif Scuttlebutt says, "Come to Chicago. I got gear."
Yeah,
listen,
but I'm gonna see if I can cut it.
Time.
We'll see.
We can go shoot in Chicago. Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast.
Scarif Scuttlebutt.
Yeah, it's they do a bunch of geeky Star Wars type pods. It's always funny on Scarif. A bunch of other cool stuff. They're out of Chicago, so we can go film there anytime we want.
Dude, let's go. Let's go.
Well, the one thing I will say about the local San Diego film industry, I think we just need more money. We need
yes.
We need to.
Yes. Unfortunately, the least talented people have the biggest amount of money, and that's another thing that's a problem. There's a lot of very untalented people that have money, and they try to force their horrible, unfunny ideas on filmmakers, who then are forced to try to make movies with them and work around their lack of talent.
Yeah,
you said it.
I'm not unfamiliar with that. No,
I'm not. Where's the lie? No lies detected, guys.
I have seen it. Yeah.
No, I do agree. I do feel like, we need to be smart about money, and we need to invest in the right people. One of the people that, for example, Ian Tripp, I feel like he's immensely talented. He directed Everybody Dies by the End, which played a good festival run. His second film, I think, just started a festival run. His third one's editing. Anyways, I feel like, he needs money. He needs, right now he's working on his fourth film that I have a part in, but there's the whole financial struggle, and I feel like the right people, like you said, don't have the money, and that's what
people don't have the money. The people with the money think they're talented and they think they have great ideas, but they don't. The talented people don't have the money, and if the rich people with the money would just be a producer and write checks instead of forcing your horrible ideas or wanting to be a star onto the people with talent, then we would be able to rise the community. This is true. Big Chief is Big Chief for a reason. Yes, thank you. I appreciate you, Scare. But yeah, I hope that we get to make a movie at some point together. Absolutely. I think I've been blown away by your performances in some of the films that I've gotten to see for as part of the San Diego Latino Film Festival. I get to see a lot of the movies that get submitted. And oftentimes I'll watch a movie and I'll have to recuse myself because I'll be like, oh, I know way too many people that made this movie. But I still get to watch them and stuff like that. So I've been really blown away by some of your performances. So I think you did find a great calling as an actor, and I hope that you make a lot of great parts. I'm also waiting to see two parts that I played in Ian Tripp's movies. I played Lucha Maximo Supremo in Sincerely Saul, and I also played a different part in his other movie. Wait, what was that? Huh?
You were in Normie, right?
Yeah, I was a normie. I play a roommate, one of the roommates. And everybody's seen my performances except me, and I'm like, and he's like, "You want the link?" And I'm like, "No, I want to see it for the first time, like my actors do. I don't want any special links. I want to see it in a theater for the first time, and I want to be surprised, you know."
Well, I think Sincerely Saul is doing a festival run now.
Yeah, Sincerely Saul's doing some festival runs and some kind of
Yeah. Normie, I think it's almost done, but I've seen Normie. It's really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you've seen me in Normie?
I have. I think I have. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
I have a baseball bat in my hand at some point or something.
Yeah. No. I mean, I just really, I really love his film. So I'm excited for this next one.
All right. We used to do something called bracket bit. We don't do that anymore because it got a little. I don't know why. Why did we stop doing bracket bit again? I don't know.
We love bracket bit. We can still do it.
We still do.
Running about ideas. I don't know.
I know. Usually, because honestly, it's like I used to have a little bit more time before the guests would show up. So,
that's what it was. Our lives got very busy.
And then I used to like be able to research them, and I'd be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna put this against this and do it."
Be like,
all right, but on the spot here, I did want to do a blind rating with you, Alan, if that's okay with you.
Okay, blind rating. Let's go.
I'm gonna give you 10 queer movies, and you're gonna rate them from number 1 to number 10. All right. I did this with Sophia a few shows ago.
Okay. What do you know about queer movies, Lou?
I know a lot about queer movies because I've watched almost every movie that's ever come out. Come on.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Okay.
I can give you I can rate these in my, I'll give you some obscure gay movies you don't know nothing about, girl.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I'm gonna give you 10, and without knowing what's coming next, you tell me whether you put them at 1 through 10. You've seen this bit before, I would assume.
All right, let's do it.
All right. And if you haven't seen the movie, pretend you have.
Okay.
All right. I don't know. I'm just kidding. You don't have to pretend you haven't seen the movie. All right. Let's start with an easy one. Call Me by Your Name.
8.
8. Okay.
Yes.
All right. The Birdcage.
Haven't seen it.
All right. Give it a rating. I mean, you've heard about it though, right?
Oh, this is from the 90s, right?
Yeah. Robin Williams, Nathan Lane.
Oh, I love those two. I'll give it a 9.
You give it a 9? Okay. Well, not a 9, but you're going to rank it from 1 through 10.
1 through 10. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying you got to put it at number 1 or number 10, number 2. Number 1 would be the best.
Oh,
so you're not giving it a rating from 1 to 10. You're ranking it.
Oh, so 8. Did you want it higher then?
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, I'm gonna give you 10 movies. You tell me which one is. You're like, oh.
Oh, no wonder you made that face when I said call 9.
Like, whoa, that's low.
We can start over, even though you know about. All right, you know what? We're gonna eliminate the Birdcage, so it's gonna be just 1 through 9. All right.
Okay.
But I'm gonna give you a do-over on Call Me by Your Name. So
thank
you can put it at number 1. You can put it at number 9, but you don't know what the other 8 movies that I'm gonna give you is. So in terms of ranking the top 9 queer movies that I have selected, tell me where Call Me by Your Name goes.
4.
All right, there you go. Adjusted. I see it. All right. Y tu mamá también.
Oof. Ooh, that's a 3.
You're gonna put that number 3.
Love that
All right.
movie.
That's a good movie. Moonlight.
Oof.
I already fucked. Okay. 5.
5 for Moonlight. All right. Philadelphia.
9.
9. All right. Boys Don't Cry.
8.
All right. Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything. Julie Newmar.
7. I've never seen it.
Why has nobody seen that movie?
I don't know, but it's on my watch list ever since the last time you mentioned it.
I didn't know that was a title. We were describing
Wesley
it.
Snipes. They all play drag queens that get stuck in the desert.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
God.
All right, we're gonna go. My Own Private Idaho.
6.
All right. Carol.
Did I say 5 already?
You did 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then it has to be like 2.
It's 2 or 1.
Ah, fuck. 2.
Damn.
Already screwed up.
6 is already taken?
Yeah. Brokeback Mountain, #1.
Well, I guess that has to be one.
Which is fitting because Emerald City.
It's all brand.
Yes, it's your brand at this point. You can't escape it.
So there was a couple of hiccups. We might have to go back to bracket.
Oh, if I could redo it, Call Me by Your Name would be higher, and so would Moonlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought there was better ones coming. I was wrong.
Well, what would be when I did the topic? What movies do you think I missed, or that I didn't mention that you were expecting?
That's a good question. I don't know. It's hard to think on top of my head. Oh, you know what's a really good one?
But I'm a cheerleader.
God's Own Country.
God's Own Country. Yes.
Have you guys seen that one? So good. It's Francis Lee, I think is the director. He's from like the UK. Very small film. It's came out like a few years ago. Highly recommend.
What's it called again?
God's Own Country. It's so raw. It's like
God's Own Country. Okay.
God's Own Country. It's like a tough watch a little bit, but it's so intense, so raw. Like it's a great film.
Okay, we'll give it a watch. All right.
That'd be top.
All right. Well, everybody go watch. So we're gonna move on to tabs and kind of go a little bit news and culture. So Alan, you're more than welcome to stick around if you like. You're still down. You got any time constraints?
I'm down. Is this like the politics talk?
It's more like just reacting to news and culture.
Yeah, random news
from a news, and sometimes we talk about politics when we usually try to stay away from it, but we do have something called Hellscape Watch. Blue is the one.
I mean, if we want to get into lesbian films, there's like a whole like
I love lesbian
Portrait
films.
of a Woman on Fire, but I'm a cheerleader.
Ammonite. Have you guys seen Ammonite?
Which one?
Ammonite with Kate Winslet, Saoirse Ronan.
I have. Oh no, I have not.
So good.
Fucking up. Okay.
So good. Oh yeah.
Sophia,
Kate Winslet, Saoirse Ronan is all I heard.
You're slipping on your pimping.
She plays a paleontologist from like the Mary Anning, who is like a real life person. And then she, well, I won't spoil it, but let's say that she falls in love with a girl.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, great.
Okay, I'm putting it on my watch list. I've added a lot of movies today.
Then she tells me 3 years later when we added a movie to her watch list, she's like, I finally watched.
It's a long list, man.
All right. Listen, I'm not gonna. I have a watch list. I have
a whole section just that says October, and it's all horror films. So like, it's gonna take me a while. Now I have a queer section. Jesus.
I have a watch list, and I still sometimes will just rewatch another movie. Plus, I watch a lot of movies for the festival, and so every time I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch a movie, I'm like, yeah, but I got like 30 movies that I have to watch for, and then I'm like, all right, let me watch an independent movie that I have no idea about.
Yeah, and then there's constant new releases, so that's a whole stressor.
It's a whole thing. I watched
all the movies this year. Okay, all of the new releases, most of them.
All of them. All right.
I just saw Anora. That was really great. Anora.
Okay, maybe not the latest ones. Anora.
Ron Baker.
Oh.
There was a movie you saw that I forgot to put on my list, Sophia, where you're like, "Oh, it's the best movie that I've seen all year."
Strange Darling.
Okay.
Strange Darling.
So good.
Write that down.
I also just recently watched The Substance. High up there with Strange Darling. It's very different.
I've been wanting to see that too.
Compare. You have to. It's disgusting, disturbing,
Hear.
upsetting.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. I will say this. It felt like a prolonged episode of Black Mirror. So part of me doesn't want to give it too many accolades just because if I do that, I feel like all of Black Mirror should also be recognized in the same way. But I did love it. And I do love Black Mirror. So
gotcha. That kind
and of too. Sophia, have I done my Jimmy Kimmel impersonation yet? I should do it for Alan, right? This is my impression of Jimmy Kimmel singing Sweet Caroline.
That's very specific.
So good. That was
it. You mean the other Jimmy, not Kimmel?
Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon? I said
Jimmy Fallon.
right?
So good.
So good.
Alan.
So
That's
good.
Alan. That's
We
so
need
Alan.
Paralyzed.
Alan, man.
So good. So good. You gotta like Jimmy Fallon for understand that one, I guess. All right, anyway.
SNL. Baby.
SNL. Anyway. All right, so basically we'll do No Nama's Way in a minute. You can help out with that too, Alan, as we get
Yes, I want to know his
but now,
perspective.
Let's
time
do
for
it. Yeah.
time for something we like to call Hellscape Watch. All right. So this is a video that I made, which is kind of my feelings about what happened during the election. Put it out tomorrow on our Mi Gente Show page and whatnot. Spoiler alerts for Fargo. If you guys haven't seen season 1, you might want to look away for a couple of minutes. But here's something I made.
Come on. Here's a piece of work, huh?
And I'll have to kind of transformative content talk a little bit for YouTube so I don't.
No. You don't get it. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's not right. When something's not right,
sometimes that's not right.
That's right. He really just have a slide. I know this guy. Rester stop. Oh, so now you do know me.
Honey?
Is this what you want?
I shorten it a little bit, Sophia.
Mm.
Hey,
Probably better for Gen Z.
No, huh? Lester, is this what you want?
Is it?
Oh.
Spoiler alert. Very dramatic.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Jesus.
So violent.
That's on you.
That's on you.
No.
Dang, that's so sad.
So sad.
That's so sad.
This was what we're living now.
That's all true. It's funny because it's true.
Oh yeah.
Is that also a spoiler?
Yeah, this whole video is a spoiler of
Yeah, I was gonna say
So
it's still a very worthwhile season of TV, by the way. It takes
nah,
place in
my watch list is too long.
It's really, really good. Anyway,
Is that true, Karina? No.
No, pues wow.
No.
Oh yeah, we have that in the tabs. It's called DOGE. It's called Doge.
I hate it here.
It's called Doge.
Doge.
It's called
Oh my god.
Department of Government Efficiency and it's him and Vivek that got named to it. So listen, this brings me to just kind of like my little rant, and I'll let you guys comment on it in a second if you guys agree with anything that I'm saying, but you're not forced to. But you know, I've gone through a range of emotions in the last week. When we started, I surprised myself because I was a little bit more optimistic or less pessimistic on election night. And I figure and the reason for that is that we're in California, so for us, unless the federal government wants to pick a fight with the fifth largest economy in the world, which I don't think they'll do because California contributes more to red states than we get from the federal government. And in my mind I said, Trump economy is better for the sales industry. We're in California where things will not fundamentally change as much, although it is becoming a redder and redder state. And for those reasons, I wasn't and I sort of expected, and I've always had the thought process that we deserve the president that we get. And if the country is actually becoming more and more red, and if Latinos that voted for Trump are that ignorant of the fact that they're voting against their own self-interest, it shouldn't be surprising because poor whites have been voting against their self-interest for years now. But having discussions with people on comment section and in my real life, where I've had to talk to Latinos who literally are like, oh no, he's better, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. And I'm like, you realize that you have a mother and a brother or a cousin. You realize that your father is like, you told me that your father came across and you were born here. Your mother came with him and you were born here. That is what birthright citizenship is. And yes, the executive order Trump wants to sign day one changes the interpretation of birthright citizenship. Changes the interpretation of birthright citizenship. Now, how could you change the interpretation of birthright citizenship so that somebody here illegally that has a child on U.S. soil, that child is not considered a U.S. citizen? You change the rule or the interpretation of the rule that not only do you have to be born on American soil, but you have to be born on American soil to American citizens, right? And if they do that, a whole bunch of these fucking pendejos from trucks with their lifted truck driving around Miami or Oklahoma or whatever the fuck they are going to get a big fucking surprise. Because if they can reinterpret the law to say both your parents must be American citizens for you to have birthright citizenship if you are born in America, what does that mean? It means they can very easily change that to say that you do not have birthright citizenship unless you can trace your family back X amount of generations as being born in America. There is zero difference between wanting to interpret a law to say both your parents have to be American or be in the country for X amount of years as an American citizen for you to have a child that's considered an American in U.S. There is zero difference between interpreting it that way and writing it so that you interpret it as having to have multiple generations in the United States as Americans. Nor is there any difference between that interpretation and saying you have to trace your lineage back X amount of generations. So you're telling me Stephen Miller, who loves Himmler and Hitler and is a white nationalist and is a horrible human being, and the person that's in charge of this immigration policy doesn't just want that? I think it's pretty safe to say that if they get that across, there is nothing that would stop them from changing that later on. So if you think their hatred of immigrants stops at you and your family because of the fact that you voted for Trump, you're a fucking idiot. Because there is nothing that would stop them from doing the next step in that, and that is demanding that you are a citizen only if both of your parents are born in the U.S. and only if both of your grandparents were born in the U.S. And that would make a shitload of other people eligible for deportation. What Stephen Miller and white nationalist Christo-fascists want is an ethno-state in the U.S. What Nick Fuentes wants is an ethno-state. The same my body, my choice guy And some good news, he did get doxxed this week. Hey, Dizzy Miss Lizzie. So there is some good news there. What he wants is the U.S. Free of black people, Jewish people, people of color. So, and that is somebody that's been at the White House and had dinner with the president. Not the White House, the Miami White House, the other one. And Stephen, and I've had conversations with people, and I said, hey, listen, Stephen, and I've tried to give MAGA people the benefit of the doubt that they are allowed to vote for whoever they want to. My only thing has been, you are not allowed to deny that there are horrible, horrible people who are on the side of the candidate that you're voting for. And you are not allowed to deny that the very policies that the person you're voting for supports and are written by Stephen Miller are not going to affect people that you love and that you see every day of your life. Because every single person that lives in the U.S. and every single Latino that lives in the U.S. interacts with, lives with, or has members of their family that have a non-legal or non-permanent resident status. It is a fact of life. And if you're an American and you live in this country, you know somebody and you don't know that they're illegal. There's somebody that you talk to that's in your friends list, that you have lunch with, that you work with, that you've dated, that has an unfinished legal status. And they are living in the shadows, and they probably happened for a while. And you are very openly saying you could give a fuck about them. Okay. So yes, you can be a Republican. You can be a log cabin Republican. You can be a Latino Republican. You can be any kind of Republican you want. You can say we're the party of Lincoln. We're the first ones that didn't want slaves. But you're not allowed to deny that today in 2024, the party that you're affiliated with wants to hurt the people that you love. So you can be okay with that, and you can do whatever the fuck you want, but you're not allowed to deny that. And every time I brought that up to people in conversation, they're like, well, I don't feel that way. All right. He doesn't speak for me. All right. Every single time I brought up Stephen Miller, the architect of the immigration plan, I've gotten crickets. No responses, nor, people love to argue. And anytime I've said this is a fact, look up Stephen Miller, look up his policies. Do you think when, like Sophia spoke about the other day, the Nazis, do you think they got there on day one and said, we're gonna murder 10 million people? No, they said, we have to do something about these immigrants. We need to deport them. They're poisoning the blood. They spread rumors about them. They're eating dogs. They're eating the cats. They said, we're going to start with the criminals first. We need to deport them. We need to deal with this issue. And then several years later, they're like, you know what? Murder, right? Should we just do murder instead? So you're allowed to be a Republican. You're allowed to have these Republican views. You're just not allowed to deny these things when you talk to me. All right. And I know we try to be avoid of political stuff. And I've had people tell me, well, you shouldn't get too political if you're a tattoo artist or if you're honestly, like I said, and Sophia knows this, I had a not life-changing, but I had a life-affirming event, and I give zero fucks now. So as they said in Glorious Bastard, I'm going to go out speaking the English, the Kings, I'm going to go out telling what I feel is my truth. So that is to say, whatever the reason you voted or whatever the reason is that things happened, we're in the find out part. And there's already been people that have lost their jobs that are now Googling what is a tariff, which was trending because they had no fucking clue who paid for tariff. There's Latinos saying, I hope that they don't deport the family Latinos and the ones that voted for Trump. There is no more, you voted for Trump, I voted for Kamala, I voted third party. That doesn't exist anymore. That has ceased to matter. We are all now in the fuck around space because it doesn't fucking matter who you voted for now. We are here. We are in a world where Elon Musk is now in charge of government efficiency. where somebody who said the answer to not separating families when they're being deported is to deport the entire family. Right. The new head of ICE said exactly that. How can you avoid separating families when you deport them? And he said this.
As it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
All right. Now, I will say this is the same guy. This is the same guy that ran Border Patrol and ICE under Obama, the deporter in chief.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like I said, two wings of the same bird, right? I don't think that much different would happen if Kamala had been president. But we are getting ridiculous people getting in charge. Mark Rubio is now head of the State Department. Musk and will lead the Department of Government Efficiency. They named it after a meme coin. They named it Doge. They named it Department of Government Efficiency because it's Elon. And Elon Musk, troll shitbag, is now in charge of a government department. And it doesn't matter who you voted for. This is the reality that we have now. Trump today said a couple of days ago that the Department of Education is going to be dismantled. That's going back to the states. Well, even I, who feel I'm slightly educated, who knows a little bit about shit going on, was like, you know what? We are last in education. So how much worse could the states do? But then I read into it and I realized the Department of Education is in charge of Pell Grants, is in charge of education grants for special education and special needs, is in charge of a lot of shit. So I doubt that they'll be able to do that because it takes a lot of an act of Congress to close the Department of Education. And they also have a strong union. But this is the world that we live in now, where the ICE person says, start packing your bags, where the president says, we're going to get rid of the Department of Education, where the president who ran in 2016 under a banner that said gays or lesbians for Trump, has now said that he's basically turning the U.S. into an anti-trans country because he's saying that he's going to write it into the law that any department that talks about transitioning or any teacher that tells a child they may be trapped in the wrong body will be fired, prosecuted, and that the only two genders that will be recognized by federal government and everything are male and female. They're assigned at birth. So all the LGBTQ community that voted for Trump, all the Latinos voted for Trump. It doesn't matter now because now we're in this together. And every single person out there knows and loves somebody that can be affected by these things, right? Somebody that you know is part of the LGBTQ community. Somebody that you know probably is trans and you don't know about it. Somebody that you know is probably an illegal immigrant. You don't know about it. And we are here now. There's nothing we can do. We are here, right? All the blue pill people saying that the election was stolen. Look, I wish the Democrats weren't cucks and they actually had some balls, because if Kamala had won, we would be nonstop with lawsuits, and we found these ballots, all these little things that Democrats are saying. Starlink, they'd be on a great one talking about it. There is. I do find it funny that we were red pilled post 2020 election, and now we're blue pilled here with all these crazy Democratic conspiracy theorist people. But listen, this is the end of my rant. But I am now more aware of the consequences of the election that we just had. And as I said, I stopped giving a fuck a while ago about what people thought about my politics or how I feel. So I think we are now, and we did this before, but more than ever part of the resistance. And just like the Congress said their role was to stop Obama from implementing his agenda, I hope that we have some strong Democrats led by Bernie Sanders, AOC, and others that cause ruckus and do make it as difficult as possible for them to implement this fucking idiotic agenda. I don't know what 2025 is, but I'm going to hire the person in charge of it, and I'm going to start implementing shit from it right away on day one. So hug your loved ones, tell them you love them, look at the people in your life, find out more about them so you can see how they're being affected and how you're being a fucking piece of shit public Trump supporter makes them feel. And as always, take care of each other. And that's my rant.
All right. Mic drop. Jesus.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all good. I just makes me want to like get my passport and move. You know, Europe sounds nice now. Portugal.
Yeah.
You know what? Even Mexico, at least they have a female president.
Yeah, dude, I feel like Mexico is more progressive now than like
It's
here.
crazy, yeah. And also the fact of like the people that are moving to Mexico, like Americans that are, gentrifying Mexico City. I was watching a video about that, and I'm like, it's crazy how the tables have turned now that more people are working remotely and are able to live in other countries.
Listen,
Not a lot of people staying in the States.
I got two places that are available to me that are some of the hottest destinations for remote workers, and Medellin being one, and Uruguay being the other. Both places where I could very easily land. So
I would love to live in Medellin, man.
We might have to change the burrito lounge to the bandeja lounge. For the
there you go.
The
la bandeja paisa.
La bandeja paisa.
Ya fue.
We should go get a bandeja paisa one of these days, Sophia.
Yeah.
Do
it.
Dude,
I'm down. I'm down. Do they even have that here? He's not
He's
invited,
not invited to the carne asada.
No.
No,
I sent you a video by Bernie though. If you want to play,
I got it. I got to take it. But Alan, I mean, as an actor, because I know a lot of actors, and I've had actors on the show and stuff, and we sort of talk about it, but they also feel like there might be a lot of casting directors and stuff, and they don't really want to put their opinion out there too hard. I've reached the stage in my career where I don't give a fuck. The movies I make are going to be self-financed or crowdsourced. So, do you ever feel any sort of type of way about sort of expressing your views or how you feel?
No, I mean, I'm pretty open with it. What I'm trying not to do is to get too emotional about it, and that's a very hard thing to do because I'm an emotional person, and but I've had lots of years of practice simply because so I'm based here in San Diego, and I'm also based in LA. When I'm here in San Diego, I spend a lot of time with my family, and they have very different views than I do. So over the years, it has been a topic of conversation. And to be quite honest, I feel one of the things that happened this last election, it has been happening since 2016, is that Trump weaponized religion. And unfortunately, what happened with that is that, including Latinos who are very religious people, I think they find themselves in that side simply because they are so identified with their beliefs and their religion, and I think there's a lot of that. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with everything you said. I feel like it was a very disheartening couple days. The day before the election, the day of the election, having conversations with family and friends, discovering that certain friends had different views than I thought they would have. That was interesting. And I think it's normal to feel that little betrayal, the little, whatever it is. But I think what I have learned in the last maybe years, like I mentioned, talking about this stuff with my family, but especially this last week, is that I think in order to have a nuanced conversation, like we were talking earlier, so it's not so black and white, we need to have an emotional control or an emotional management when we have these conversations, because when people are just throwing emotion at each other, which is completely justified, no one's listening. Everyone's just picking up each other's emotions. You know, I had a very hard conversation with someone that is very dear to me, and this conversation was right away about, I felt like it was going to be a huge argument, a huge fight. But I think we both worked really hard to kind of neutralize the emotions and just kind of express what we were going to say. And I felt like this person got to see my perspective a bit. You know, everything that you said, or a lot of the stuff that you said that I was trying to tell to this person, I felt like a lot of it was received because I found sort of like a neutral way. And I was able to see his perspective, that even though I don't agree, at least it takes off the sting of what the intention of that person is, if that makes sense. So it kind of, I think we're at a point where we need to start seeing each other not as like little flags of what everyone is, but as a person. And I know that's like very kind of a hard ask right now, but I think if we're not going to repeat what happened in Germany, for example, then this is what we need to do. I feel like that, you know, people back then, it's very similar. Like you mentioned, you know, Hitler preyed on how the Germans were struggling economically and scapegoated it on, you know, this group of people. The same shit is happening again, which is crazy.
Word for word, poisoning the blood.
But I would hope that now, in the place that we are in as humans in general, with the technology, with the history, with the access to information, hopefully we can prevent it from going to the next step. Because like you said, what's done is done. We're all on the same page now. We're all on the same boat. So I think the mission for me anyways now is, how do we unite? How do we are able to see each other and be there for each other? But,
absolutely. And you know what one of the ways that we're going to save the world is? Podcasting.
Oh yeah, totally.
Podcasting. Because one of the things that was very evident about the current election was the fact that podcasts played a huge role in it. And some of the biggest media outlets were getting a tenth of what podcasts were getting in terms of listens, etc. So it was definitely an area thing. So we're going to keep podcasting. All right, but let's end the show on something lighter. I'm going to save some of these little clips I had for next show, which will be at some other point. We'll just do a couple of fun things here. And what was the? Do you want to do the Bernie video? Can we save that one?
No, we can save that till later. Yeah.
I just saw that it was 15 minutes. That's why.
No.
We can me and you watch that last time. Let's see what else we have here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Sorry. I mean, what could go wrong? The Fox News host Pete Hegseth is going to be the defense secretary. Why? How could you possibly go wrong by having a Fox News host in charge of Homeland Security? There's no.
Something that really bothers me is when people support Trump because they're like, well, he stands up for like whatever, right? Like they like his chaos. Essentially, they're like he says what he thinks and he speaks his mind, and I respect that about him and all that, right? Okay, cool. A lot of people don't consider that Trump is just one guy. The people that he's gonna put to these positions of power is the Republican Party, and at the end of the day, so I'm like. It's just a pet peeve. I'm like, of course, there's a lot of like idiocracy that I really, really hate, but that's just one that I'm like, you don't realize that he's just one dude. Everyone else that he's gonna put to each place is gonna be a Republican. It's the Republican Party who's in charge.
But you know, the most disheartening part was the whole Latino vote. I mean, it's just like I was not entirely shocked, but I didn't realize it was gonna be that many.
That bad.
Iban con el pinche nopal en la cabeza, like.
Yeah, see, there was a video. Yeah, there was a video today of like a whole Latino family who voted for Trump, and when they asked him why, they were like, he wants to deport people and all stuff. He's like, well, yeah, I think that's good. And he's like, well, what makes you think that they won't deport you or something like that? And they're like, well, no, it's gonna be only the bad people. Like, I think the good people are gonna be okay.
Oh no,
And I was like,
I thought the one you were talking about was like where they were interviewing the guy and he was like, oh, yeah, it's only going to be, he's for the immigrants and there's too many immigrants that need to go back where they came from. And they're like, where are you from? He's like, Peru.
oh my God. Yeah. But yeah, no, these are, it's just sad, man, because everyone's voting against their self-interest.
Yeah,
and it's only because we've been pit against each other. And the thing is, and this is where I get exhausted. I've been saying this for decades. I was radicalized when I was younger, in the sense that I think that the true crux of like all our pain and suffering is the billionaires. It's the fact that money does not trickle down. It's if you tax the rich, billionaires should not exist. If you tax the rich and that money were to go to the working class, none of us would be feeling this angry. But the thing is, the billionaires instead tell people, the working class, like, you should be mad at women, you should be mad at trans people, you should be mad at immigrants. And then people believe them. Yeah. And then people believe them. And now they're voting against their self-interest by masses. And it sucks, because what Alan said, I want to be respectful and so kind and all of that. But it's so hard. It's so hard currently. And then that's the only way that you unite people, right? Because we've been divided very successfully by Donald Trump. And so you want to be nice and you want to unite, but it's so difficult right now, especially when you know that there's the Democratic Party, who also gets paid by big donors, and they're not necessarily going to want to fight for the little guy.
None of this excuses the fact that they made the same mistakes that they made in 2016. They made the exact same, they had the same playbook. The DNC is inept and incompetent. They ran an unlikable candidate, and they thought leaning as right as possible was the way to go. They had Liz fucking Cheney as one of their main spokesperson in the home stretch.
Yeah,
so
and then
don't even want.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sophia.
That's the thing. Like, they thought that like leaning right was going to compete with the Republicans, but when you lean right, the people just vote for the person who's leaning the most right. You know, you're not. Yeah, you normalize it. And my thing is like, maybe you should lean left a little. Maybe you should go against the big donors. Maybe that would have helped, having some policy. But
and they tried to say the party was too left. And that's why they
that's what kills me now, is that they're learning the wrong lessons. So I do feel fatigued, and I feel kind of disheartened and disenfranchised, and it's sad, but you know, I'm just gonna keep my fight going. I may be a little less loud than I was when I was younger, but I'm gonna be Bernie. I'm gonna be that old lady just yelling from the rooftops.
But I think you're right. I think it comes. I feel like the real crooks are behind the scenes. I think the people who are really behind all the division. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Star Wars, like the prequels. How you had the Republic versus the Separatists, but there was one entity behind both. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I don't know. I kind of get that kind of vibe here. I feel like the real perpetrators are not really being seen here.
They're not. No, not at all.
To quote Star Wars, somehow Trump has returned.
Oh God.
But I don't know. You're wearing red, so I don't know if I should trust what you.
Oh, Sophia's getting ready to do the right wing grift because there's more money in it.
I just might. If I didn't have a conscience, I'll lose it someday. It's going. It's slowly going.
Listen, we either have to go full resistance or just go right wing.
Yeah, can't beat them, join them. I might join God one of these days. I might be what is that? The Christian, the people that are born again. Born again. There you go. I'm
born again. You can be a born again Mormon.
Wow. See. It's all right there. It's all right there, guys.
I can go
there. I just have to play this one here because I know, Sophia, you're running on time. We're going to just play a couple of quick videos and then do Nanama's way, and then we'll get out of here. This is one of the videos I saw this week.
Nowadays, we have in these United States 3 groups of Latinos Trump supporters. The first group is the Come Mierdas. These are the stuck-up huelebichos who believe that the little money they may have makes them white. The second group is the hallelujahs. These are the self-righteous rascabolas.
Whoa!
The religion converts them into whiteness. And the last group are the ignorant dumbasses. These are the pendejos who believe without any historical evidence that they have always been white. If you are a Latino Trump supporter and you belong to one of these three groups I just mentioned, congratulations. You have been successfully trumpetized against your own people in the name of whiteness. Stay woke, mi gente.
I love that. Love that. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head with that one.
We need that as part of the intro to the show. Stay woke, mi gente.
Stay woke, mi gente. I love that.
Yeah.
Well,
This is the last one here, and then we'll do we'll let Alan help us with some advice for people.
all right.
All right. This is Trump supporter being pranked.
On a batch of new ballots, 40 million new ballots. Kamala Harris is president-elect.
Bullshit! She better not have.
You know what? Behind bars.
What?
She's your president.
She ain't my president.
She just won the election.
A woman can't run this country.
Oh my God.
Not if it's like
Jesus.
Oh, I get it straight.
Listen,
Okay.
a broken clock is right twice a day. You know, she did make some valid points there. About, oh shit!
Wow.
Are we still on stream? Sorry, my bad. Listen, I thought this was the after show. I didn't mean that. Women are more than qualified to run the country, guys.
Wow, that was crazy.
That was wild. That was scary.
Hey, listen, there's a lot. Listen, it's gonna be. If anything, it'll be great for content. All right. We're almost done. Just one last part, and we'll have Alan help us out, and then we'll get out of here. It's time for...
Now it's time for...
No names, way.
No names, way.
No names.
Anonymous advice from unqualified podcasters with our friend Alan Vasquez here hanging out with us tonight. All right. Let me see. All right. Let's do this question here. I think we kind of answered this one. I'm not sure if I can. This one, it comes from disappointed. I'm not sure I can completely stop talking to Latino family members who voted for Trump, but I really don't want anything to do with them anymore. They are church-going Christians that probably voted because they were told to by the church. Can't stand it anymore. I'm so disappointed. They voted for Trump. It is be impossible to never speak to them again, and I won't fight to argue this holiday season. They're cousins, aunts, uncles from my in-law part of the family. How would you handle the situation? I'm so sure so many are dealing with this too, and I'm being dramatic. This is happening all over the country. There's TikToks they're dedicated to Republicans posting that their family uninvited them for Thanksgiving because they figured out they were Trump supporters. So this is playing this conversation that I had with family members that you guys had with family members that you guys had in public that this person had are being played all over the country right now, especially anybody in Latino families or LGBTQ families, which are all families. There is zero chance that this doesn't affect somebody that you love. It's as simple as that. Somebody that you love, whether it's a woman that might die if there's a full abortion ban, whether it's somebody being stripped of their rights, whether it's a trans kid that might do something to themselves because they of things, whether it's kids getting bullied in school. All of this shit, this will affect somebody that you love, if not yourself directly. So this is a conversation happening all over the world. Feel free, in my opinion, to distance yourself from them. We got to have smaller units. I know Alan was right when he was talking about the fact that this is all sort of dividing us. So if you can find a common ground with them, then do it. But I'm not going to fault anybody for at least for a year or two, or maybe 4, from just distancing yourself a little bit from the family. And until you listen, unless they come at you and they're like, oh, but if they come to you and they're like, oh, listen, I was malinformed, or Telemundo told me, or you know what I'm saying, like the ghost of Don Francisco. Is Don Francisco dead?
I don't know.
Is he alive? I don't know, actually.
I don't know. Don Francisco came to me and told me that I had to vote from El Chacal.
I love that.
I do feel like mental health is first.
Yes.
Take care of yourself first.
I just figured out a movie for us to do, Alan.
He's still alive, by the way.
We do the origin story of El Chacal from Sábado Gigante, and you get to play a young Chacal in his life before he put on the black mask and started playing the trumpet for people.
Do it. Write
I
it.
love that.
I'm down. I'll do it.
All right. Cool.
But yes, I think
Sophia can be El Chacal's beard because he's gay, obviously. She, but she's like
I would be honored.
She's like the wife beard. She's the wife beard agent, and she like tries to get him on auditions. Then finally, she realizes that if he just puts something over his head and they can't see his face, I don't.
Let's do that.
There's a script in there somewhere. Yeah.
There's a script in there. Nobody copyright 2 a.m. Burrito 2024.
There's something in there.
Yeah.
Oh, show's no longer on, but he's still alive. Okay, cool. Shout out to Don Francisco to check out.
He alive.
All
He's
right.
83 years old.
Did you guys have anything else to add to that, Sophia? Or
No. I mean, kind of like Alan was saying, just like really check in on your mental health, see how much bandwidth you have. I think it's acceptable if you don't feel like being around them and need to put some space in between you and your family. That's totally fine. But I also think that if you do have the bandwidth and can go to these family events and just not talk politics,
kind of presence
be cordial. Sometimes your presence is a form of activism, whether you are queer, a woman, anything. So sometimes just you existing is a form of activism, and these people need exposure. So if you have that patience, do it. If not, that's totally cool.
100%. I 100% agree with that. You just have to be the person that you are, believe the things that you believe, and just own that, embrace that. And I think just by simply being that, you're going to affect people around you. Maybe not right away, but you're planting seeds. And that's
exactly.
It's very clippable. Clippable. Thank you.
Stay strong, mi gente.
Stay strong, mi gente. All right. Second question comes to us from Not Engaged. Not Engaged writes, should an engagement ring be returned if the wedding doesn't happen? It's not a family heirloom. All right. So I happen to know a lot of it should be returned unless, and this is my advice to men out there, unless he proposed on your birthday, Valentine's Day, or Christmas. If he proposed on one of those 3 days, then the wedding ring is considered under the law as a gift.
Oh, he said law.
If he, yes.
Man
law.
Right.
This is not moral. This law.
It's, I don't know. I think it's under the bro code somewhere. But I think the moral of it is if you that's why you
Article
don't.
3, Chapter 4.
That's why you don't propose on her birthday, Valentine's Day, or Christmas. Because if you do, technically the ring is a gift. If you propose on February 15th, December 26th, or the day after or before her birthday, then she's supposed to give it back to you if the marriage doesn't happen.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So don't propose on those 3 days.
I was just gonna say, out of common courtesy, just for humanity's sake, yes, give it back. Unless, because I'm a petty bitch, unless they did you so dirty, then keep it. You know, like if they cheated, did they sleep with your mom? You know, I don't know. I don't know what they did. So
it's all case by case. Yeah.
Case by case. Yes.
Case by case. I agree with that.
I need more details. Yeah, thank you.
Do you need the money for something? Are you going to pawn it, or is it just like a petty thing?
Use it for a voodoo doll? I don't know. What did he do? What did they do?
I need more context. But in terms of like, whatever protocol, that's what it is.
But yes, I think if you're gonna be a good person, give it back, etc.
All right. The next one comes to us from Guy Friend, or I have a Guy Friend. Sorry. All right, hold on a second here.
Guy Friend. Okay.
I broke up with my boyfriend. The term boyfriend is a stretch. I ended things a while ago due to his toxic behavior. We were very recently trying again under the guise of his alleged change. Last weekend, I crashed at my friend's place after a party we hosted at his house because I drank. Mind you, I was in the spare bedroom alone and was open with my toxic ex about it. I called him while I was in bed about to fall asleep. While I can understand his concerns, he approached me telling he wanted to rip my friend's throat out and I should never sleep at another man's house. This was unprovoked. This friend of mine has never hit on me, made me uncomfortable, gave me eyes, not to mention he is currently dating somebody.
Well, that's a big.
He unraveled and lost control of himself. He then blocked me, unblocked me, which is fine. I think the problem took care of itself. My question is, am I bad for wanting an apology from him for threatening my friend who gave me a safe place to sleep? Or, oh man, this possessive. Should I have refused to play his games?
Yeah, dump him. I'm sorry. Life is just that simple. Sometimes we make it so complicated, but yeah, that's very bad. If you're saying the truth, which I'm going to hold you to it, that is really possessive, scary, violent behavior that could escalate. So I would just dump him, honestly.
That's very violent.
Yeah. Like I want to. What did he say?
Okay. No, okay. And she sent me a Google Drive link, which I didn't even know you could do. But because they were saying about, okay, so she sent the text basically where he wanted to force her to text her friend to see if he would have slept with her. Like basically trying to test. Like his boyfriend wanted her to text the guy and let him see if like she flirted or asked him something like that, would he have been like, yeah, I want to have sex with you? Like she went, you know?
This all sounds too toxic. This just sounds like too much.
Text him you want to have sex with him tonight and see what he says. If you're right, he'll say no, right? Basically like telling him like she was trying to explain, you know?
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
cut it.
Run.
Yeah. I would say no.
Run, Forrest, run.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch there, but no, I'm not gonna read all.
You don't got to be bringing your friend into a toxic relationship like that too. Like there's something unsettling about that. Even if they were to like say yeah and they would agree or whatever, I'm like at this point you guys he's playing games, and and this friend who hosted you and respected you.
Yeah.
You're just bringing him in and ruining his day. Like no, like that's mean. Just don't do it.
And wanting an apology from the guy, like at this point, like doesn't matter. Just cut ties.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah. Getting him to apologize is not going to fix the the issue, which is that.
At this point we're treating the symptom, not the cause, and he needs therapy. So
sounds like he has borderline personality disorder, which is manifested by trying to separate you from your friends and family. So he sees it as a friend. He wants to start.
Look at you diagnosing. All right.
Therapist here.
That's not from school. It's from just dating crazy.
This is from dating crazy.
From being a fan of dating crazy. Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's kind of like that. Anyway,
you do have that history.
Right. Well, Alan, thank you guys. Thank you for being a part of this show.
Yes, thanks for being here, Alan.
Thank you. This was fun. Thank you.
If you guys are in San Diego, go check out his movie this weekend, playing at SD Film Week. The link is in the chat. I'll make sure I put it in the
It's really good. Worth the watch. Go support queer films. Come on, it's really good.
Yeah, honestly, I think they did a good idea moving to Digital Gym from MoMA because I think it's a smaller location, but hopefully they can charge less for tickets because I know that the Digital Gym is very cool with filmmakers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna try to make it out there. I'll be down the street unless I'm tattooing some giant biker's back or doing something else like that.
We'd love to see you there.
Try to stop by. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. You want to hang out with we usually do a postmortem for 2 seconds before we leave here. But thank you guys for watching. We're probably off next week, right, Sophia? We don't have any.
Yeah, I think we're gonna skip next week and then
we're taking a week. Let everybody charge. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. All that good stuff. We love you. Take a good time. Love each other.
Hasta luego.
Buenas noches.
Bye.
Vamos, papá, hay que irnos. Me estoy aguantando desde que pusieron el domo.
Puedes esperar. Muchas personas trabajaron en esta película y solo quieren que te aprendas sus nombres de memoria.
Y yo quiero asegurarme de que ningún animal resultó lesionado durante la filmación de esta película.
¡Listo! ¡Uy, palomitas en el suelo! ¡Wow!
Espera, parece que Maggie tiene algo que decir. Es su primera palabra.